Welcome into the show, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. We got a Flyers shutout, unfortunately. Not on the good end of the shutout. Carter Hart still looked good in net. Team kind of let him down, especially when they got shut out and had no offense. So there you go. We got some Nick Sirianni sound we want you to hear for the press conference today. Something that told me in this press conference, the Eagles are not ever run the ball against the Denver Broncos. That's just not going to happen. There was one thing that made me go, oh, wait, maybe they'll run the ball. And then the very next cut, oh, no, they're not running the ball. So we'll get into that conversation. We'll also get into some Sixers conversation. We'll try to figure out what it all means with our friend Paul Hudrick. We got an NBA story, so we'll talk to Paulie Basketballs coming up in a second when it comes to everything revolving around Ben Simmons and the Jalen Brown rumor, and also what it means for a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who came out of the gates so far this season ready to play some ball. But, if you're watching the show today on that old YouTube channel or Twitter, whatever it might be, you like what you see? New microphone? So here's what I'm planning. If I sound like crap, well, I mean, not that that's anything different, but if you hear something different, if you hear a little audio thing, just go ahead and hit me up in the comments like you guys always do. God bless you. But here's what we're going to start off with tonight, or today, excuse me. Last night, the Flyers take a loss to the Maple Leafs. Like I said, 3-0 was the final count. Nylander had 2 goals. One was off his foot, one was off his stick, and then they capped one off later in the third period. But I wasn't too comfortable in the early goings of this Flyers game last night, and here's why. The Flyers had about 12 chances, it felt like, in the first 12 minutes of this game. All were like point-blank shots. Cam Atkinson had an attempt to bury one in the back of the net. It got knocked down in front. They couldn't get the rebound. They had another goal with Coots, a goal opportunity with Sean Couturier streaking down. He couldn't bury it in the back of the net. Pretty sure that was a short-handed opportunity. A little bit later in the game, Cam Atkinson again tried to fire through the slot. Couldn't get it home. It just felt like the Flyers were on the doorstep so many times in the early goings of this game, but couldn't finish it off. And then for the rest of the game, you just didn't see that many scoring chances for the Flyers. First period, first 12 minutes, it looked like they were going after it. It looks like they were going to be aggressive the entire game. And they were everything but the kitchen sink type of story. And they just weren't able to do it. And then about midway through the second period, Nylander is streaking towards the net, little pass in front, goes off his toe and into the back of the net. Waved no goal immediately by the official. No goal immediately, no question about it. Kicking motion, no goal. The Maple Leafs then say, hey, we're going to challenge that. We say there was no distinct kicking motion, so go ahead and take it up top. So they take it up top. They review it, and they overturn it, saying it was a goal. Now, the whole conclusive evidence. Now, first off, let's get this out of the way. I believe there was no distinct kicking motion. I believe it was a bad call initially by the official. But when it goes off a guy's foot, and that's the call on the ice, you have to have conclusive evidence that there was no distinct kicking motion. It's just weird for me when the guy does kick it in the back of the net. Like, do I think he wound up and kicked? No, of course not. But if it goes off his foot, it's just weird to me that you can't say it's conclusive that he didn't mean to do that, in other words. Do I think they made the right call ultimately? Yes, I do. But the call on the ice was no goal immediately. And they review it, and they say, oh, no, you got that wrong. It was totally a goal. No distinct kicking motion. It's a weird thing to overturn. And I know if it happened to the Flyers, I'd go, that seems interesting that they would overturn it when the guy was so emphatic on the ice that it wasn't. Yeah, you have to conclusively tell me that I got it wrong, but it still went off his foot. It's a weird thing. Bottom line is Flyers lost. They didn't look good, offensively speaking, of course. They looked good early, not so much as the game went on. Carter Hart, the puck went off the guy's foot. Not much you're going to do on that. Second goal came from the slot, some traffic in front. Third goal, same type of thing. So I'm not going to really bust on Carter Hart too much when this was an offensive problem for the Flyers, unfortunately. So they drop one to the Maple Leafs. Sixers going to be back in action tonight against the Toronto Raptors. We'll see how that goes. Raptors are going to be playing a back-to-back there, so we'll see if Sixers can take advantage of that. Look forward to breaking that down a little bit further with our good friend Paul Hudrick coming up in a second. Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday. A couple of things to get out of the way when it comes to business with the Sixers. With the Eagles, excuse me. First thing was Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox are supposed to be day-to-day right now. Landon Dickerson is he's feeling good. Looks like he's going to be playing, no problem there. Josh Sweat still in concussion protocol. We'll see what happens there. A couple of changes the Eagles also made on the sidelines we'll get to. But let's start off with the Darius Slay situation. Avonte Maddox, day-to-day. Darius Slay addressed the media yesterday where he acted pretty confident that he was going to be playing in this game against the Broncos. He got a hamstring issue. I say he plays. I feel like he's a guy that's going to fight through anything to try to get on the football field and play. So we'll see how that goes for the Eagles. My bet is that he ends up playing. I mentioned yesterday, I want to say it one more time, Quentin Michael will join the show tomorrow to walk us through what this Eagles defense should be doing against the Denver Broncos and whether or not he thinks Darius Slay is going to play. He seemed pretty confident. Darius Slay seemed pretty confident yesterday during his news conference that he was going to be out there playing. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Avonte Maddox, I think, is a little bit more of a question, so we'll see how that develops over the next couple of days. When Nick Sirianni addressed the media, he made it seem like it was a question as to whether or not those two might play. Darius Slay did not. He pretty much said he was playing. When it comes to Sirianni, though, there's a couple of things that came out of this press conference. One was what he had to say about Jordan Howard being added to the 53-man roster, officially elevated off the practice squad, and now part of the 53. He said, he went on this little tangent, and it wasn't like out of control or anything. It wasn't like an overly excited Nick Sirianni answer. It was just a very matter of fact, like, hey, he's a big guy. I couldn't imagine wanting to tackle him 15 to 20 times a game. So it's good to have a guy like that on your team. And I'm thinking, Jordan Howard didn't put on weight or put on muscle or grow any taller since the start of the season. So you've always had that guy. You just chose not to have him on the roster for whatever reason. You chose to have Boston Scott, which I'm fine with. I love Boston Scott. But you chose not to have him on the roster for Boston Scott because they weren't going to take the rookie Kenny Gainwell off that list. They weren't going to take him off the 53. They certainly weren't going to take Miles Sanders off the 53. So if that's what you loved about Jordan Howard, how come you didn't? If you weren't using Boston Scott at all, why not have Jordan Howard up in the beginning of the season? Doesn't make any sense. So Nick Sirianni does this testimonial to Jordan Howard yesterday and says, we did that because we like the production. He's been playing well. He's a big guy. If you're a defense, you don't want to have to deal with that guy coming out of the backfield. And if you do deal with that guy coming out of the backfield, that's going to wear a defense down. And I'm thinking, okay, good for you, Nick. You realize what you need to do offensively. It's not just using your running backs, but it's not just about the running game. It's about taking the workload off of Jalen Hurts, taking the responsibility off of Jalen Hurts' shoulders, and just let him concentrate on making a play every once in a while, as opposed to every single play. And the thing I always compare it to is the Buddy Ryan offense. Riddle will go make a play. We're fine. That's not an offense. That's not a game plan. That's not a strategy. Anyway, so it kind of got my hopes up. Even though the Broncos took care of business against the Cowboys and were able to contain Ezekiel Elliott, were able to contain Tony Pollard, and they were able to contain them really as a whole offense throughout the game. But most notably the run game. I thought, okay, maybe they're not going to abandon it early in the game. Maybe they're not going to ignore it throughout this game if they love Jordan Howard that much. We'll see how that goes. And then I believe it was my man, John McMullen, that asked the question of Nick Sirianni about Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio really made a name for himself with the San Francisco 49ers. He was there with Jim Harbaugh. And I know some people were looking at Vic Fangio possibly to be hired here in Philadelphia before the Eagles hired Doug Peterson. And Fangio has made a name for himself, once again, with the type of defense that he likes to run and what he likes to do. And when he was asked about his time around Vic Fangio, this is what Nick Sirianni focused on. And as you might guess, it was about the run game.
I've probably been on teams that have played him a handful of times, and so you always go back and look at all those tapes and your notes and everything like that. He's always gonna. I always think with him, you see where they are ranked in run defense. They're always going to try to stop the run first, and he does a good job of that, of taking away the run game, of trying to take away the run game, and trying to do the things he needs to do to do that. There's a lot of different ways to do that. So, and you always see his guys play hard, so that the team probably, really follows him. He's good. Again, I haven't been around him, but probably a good leader. They play hard. They're technically sound. Again, anytime I kind of think about what do I want another coach to think about my team, I always want them to think we're fundamentally sound. And, because I just think that's the biggest compliment you can give somebody. So I always see his teams being fundamentally sound, stopping the run, and playing hard.
The Denver Broncos are like sixth in the league right now in run defense in terms of how good they are at allowing the run. They allow let's see here. They allow 98 yards, so under 100 yards per game on the ground. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Don't abandon the run, Nick. Don't ignore the run, Nick. Please, dear God, don't. I feel like he set the table to say, "Oh, this is going to be a passing game." And hearing him talk about one of the top-ranked run defenses in the NFL kind of got me worried that if they started out running and then it didn't work, they would get away from it. I hope that's not the case. Because here's what I have found out over the last two games. I know everyone will say, oh, one was against the Lions. But against the Chargers, against the Lions, the best version of the Eagles is a run-first offense. I'm not expecting in this game, I have no delusions of grandeur. I have no gut feeling that they're going to come out and run the ball 25 times in the first half like they did against the Chargers and only throw the ball 9 times. That is not going to happen in this game. I don't expect it to, nor should it, because you are playing against a much better opponent defensively speaking and a much better defensive mind. So, Nick, it would not behoove you to do that in this game. However, can I get 10? Can I get 10 runs in the first half? Could I get like 8 of them called run plays, not just where Jalen Hurts sees something break down and he takes off? Can I go for 8 called run plays? Is that too much to ask for? I mean, I feel like I'm setting the bar even pretty low there, but I'm trying to consider who you're playing against and mixing that in well with how you do things well and what you do well and how your offense is at its best as well. So that's what I'm looking at in this game. I'm thinking, what's a fair number? What's not crazy? What's if you were to bet an over-under on how many times the Eagles call a run play in the first half, what's a fair number? And I'm like, 8? 8? Considering against the Cowboys, it was 2. Considering against the Chiefs, it was 3? I'm like, you know what? Maybe after they've discovered this could be the best version of their offense, maybe 8 is still a decent number to go with here. And you know what, Nick? Hopefully all that great stuff you said about Jordan Howard, how big he is, how we can wear down a defense, hopefully you won't forget that during this game. Hopefully during this game you'll go, hey, Jordan Howard, have at it. We still don't have Miles Sanders, but we got Boston Scott, and we got Kenny Gable. Jordan Howard, you're our lead guy. Go out there and get it done. I said yesterday, and I'll reiterate this because I don't feel like I made the point well enough in going back and looking at yesterday's show. Here's what I got. This is the best opportunity to bust out a Boston Scott screen for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to want to mix it up because if Jordan Howard is going to be your between the tackles guy, I can't think of anybody better than Boston Scott on this team. Kenny Gainwell coming out of training camp. Oh, I can't wait to see him on a screen. Really haven't seen any of that this year. We haven't seen any of it from Boston Scott, but at least Boston Scott has a history of executing that play very well. This might be a great opportunity to, again, make an easy decision for Jalen Hurts to suck in a very aggressive defense on a screen, pop it over him to Boston Scott, old school Brian Westbrook type 60-yard touchdown pass on a screenplay. That's what I want to see in this game. At least give me an attempt. Give me an attempt at doing that. With this defense, the Denver Broncos defense, that can be very aggressive. Use their pursuit against them. People used to do it all the time against Jim Johnson. Oh, try to use their over pursuit. if you can't beat the blitz like Kurt Warner did in that NFC Championship game with the Cardinals, where it was just like the ball was out every 1 second. It was like drop back, boom, gone. Beating the blitz like that. If you can use their over pursuit against them and make them look like they're over pursuing, not just being aggressive, like they're being dumb, then by all means do that. I think you can do that with a screenplay to Boston Scott in this game. I think you can get him at least once. So let's try that. That's what I'd like to see. 8 runs in the first half. Put that number over, under, whatever you like. Pick them now. Or also using, also using a screen to Boston Scott. That's something I'd like to see part of the playbook there with Nick Sirianni. There's something else that came up here, and I want to, in the comments here, I want you to listen to this. I'll give you a second, but I want you to listen to this, and I want you to let me know what jumped out to you from this cut from Nick Sirianni. He's talking about moving quarterback coach Brian Johnson down to the field. A lot of times guys are up in the box. Sometimes you move them down to the field. Sometimes down the field. Sometimes in the box, right? They move. So now, like the first handful of games this season, Brian Johnson's been upstairs. Now they have him down on the sideline. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer asked Nick Sirianni about why that change was made, and here's what Nick Sirianni had to say.
I could, so really in between a set, I have to be there with the defense and looking at the defense and anything that's going on right there. And Shane and I are talking in communication. And so, for the first couple weeks, Shane was, again, we adjust things to make it work the best process. Shane would spending time with Jalen on the sideline, looking at the pictures, and we weren't able to get to some talks every time, like if it was a quicker 3 and out or whatever it was. And so now Brian can look at the pictures with him. Brian can talk to him about things they talked about all week. And, Shane and I are in every quarterback meeting too. So, so we're all but Brian can have that main communication with them. We can say things to Jalen when we need to. And Shane and I can really talk about the next set. And so that's the why behind it. And that's what we've been doing these last 2 weeks.
Did anybody catch that? I'll give you a second. What I'm looking for is in the first couple of seconds of that clip. Anybody getting it? Mallory says, Sirianni looks like he aged 20 years in 8 weeks. That's like a presidential term. Nobody gets it? Nobody? Give you another second. Here it is one more time. Take a listen.
I could, so really in between a set, I have to be there with the defense and looking at the defense and anything that's going on right there.
I got to go with the defense. I got to look at the defense and anything that's going on right there. I don't remember another offensive-minded head coach that the Eagles had. That guy's name was Doug Peterson. I don't remember him ever checking in with the defense. I don't remember Chip Kelly really ever checking in with the defense. The only thing that really jumps to mind, why is he near the defense? Thank you, April. Here's what I got for you. I don't remember Doug Peterson ever going over the defense. I remember there was a report last year that he had spent a little bit more time on that side of the ball, like wandering over to that practice field at the NovaCare complex. I only remember Chip Kelly and Kerry Williams, if you remember the cornerback of the Eagles. If you remember Kerry Williams going over to Chip Kelly during the Snow Globe game saying, hey, they can't cut. The defense can't cut on that side. It's impossible for a corner. Throw it downfield, air it out, right? Andy Reid with Juan Castillo maybe took a visit over there to the defensive side of the ball. That was pretty much it. So now Nick Sirianni is checking in with the defense. Interesting. Usually that means things are going really, really bad. That's what happened with Doug Peterson. That's what happened with Andy Reid. And now that seems to be happening with Nick Sirianni. I know he said in his press conferences that, hey, I'm the head coach. Everything's on my name. I can't remember too many instances where offensive head coaches that are also the offensive coordinator, play caller, if you will. I can't remember too many instances where they were going over to check in on the defense. The only time that comes up is if there's a timeout and Nick Sirianni sees something and wants to call a timeout. That's really the only time. Maybe that's a change. Nobody followed up with that question as to whether or not he was checking up on Jonathan Gannon or anything there. Hey, this should have been the follow-up. Okay, so Brian Johnson's down there on the field. That's a change. Is you going over to the defense? Is that also a change, or is that something that's been happening throughout the year? Because that'd be my question. Wait a minute, hold on. You're with the defense? That seems odd. Most of the offensive-minded head coaches here have just kind of let the defense do what they do, unless there's a problem. And I think we all acknowledge that there is a problem when it comes to this defense. I'm just not used to hearing it so soon. I mean, Juan Castillo was, the defensive coordinator for a minute here in Philadelphia? I don't even think he made a full season. But I will say, what people don't give Juan Castillo credit for, his defense after Jim Johnson and prior to Jim Schwartz was the only defensive coordinator to actually have top 10 numbers, points, and yards in the league. So there's that. Anyway, that's what jumped out to me from Nick Sirianni's press conference. Jalen Hurts, his normal confident self, as one would assume. Everything else from yesterday was just pretty much Darius Slay letting you know that he was feeling pretty good, and he's expecting to play more or less. He's really going to push. I would expect him to play coming up on Sunday. Before we get to our guest today, Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers, I do want to tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate Steven Singer. With all the shipping delays and fulfillment issues expected for the holidays, Christmas shopping has come earlier than ever. Luckily, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers is giving every other jeweler another reason to hate him because he has already been fully stocked on Anita cut diamond earrings. Very popular gift, extremely popular at Steven Singer Jewelers over the last few years. And guess what? They're there for under $270. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same price as last year. Get the holiday shopping done early for that special someone in your life with Anita beautiful, real Anita diamond cut studs. Choose a pair of them and you are set. If that sounds familiar, like I said, it's the same price as last year, $270. He's not jacking up prices like everywhere else. Just the perfect price every single time. You see, like, inflation's at the crazy high right now. Not at Steven Singer Jewelers. No sales, no discounts, no BS. Steven's real diamond studs are flawless to the eye, near colorless, and come with his famous full lifetime value guarantee with a trade-in. You can trade up your diamond studs anytime and receive exactly what you paid towards a new pair. And all that with an unbeatable 100-day, 100% money-back guarantee, making it no risk for shopping every year. That's just incredible. No risk shopping early for the holiday. Go now to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. I got a little theory when it comes to Ben Simmons. We'll discuss it with our good friend Paul Hudrick, who's going to join us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, we got some basketball to discuss. So we got from Liberty Ballers, our good friend, Mr. Paul Hudrick. What's up, Paulie?
Just living the dream over here, Marc. How are you, man?
No, I'm going to take a look at you. No, this is pretty good. This is the most consistent look I think we've had in quite some time.
It's like a full-on bun at this point. It's
you look like $1 million damn dollars. So let's just start off with this. The story comes out from Sham Charania, and then Woj has got stories. Everyone's got stories about Ben Simmons and the Boston Celtics, and that Washburn fella up there in Boston. He's got a story as well. What are you making of all the scuttlebutt if Ben Simmons possibly going to Boston in exchange for Jalen Brown?
I would say, looking at it from the Boston Celtics perspective, I'm not surprised that they would be poking around, because I think most teams at this point, I'm sure a lot of teams, I should say, have poked around, because the longer he goes without playing and the more drama there is and the more that it seems clear he is trying to push his way out, of course, some teams are going to try to get in on it and see where they are and see where the Sixers are and what the return could be. And I would say from the Sixers perspective, of course, if the Celtics are calling you, Jalen Brown's the guy you're going to ask about. I personally don't see the path. Like, I don't think the Celtics would do it. I have a hard time seeing that. Then again, things change. You know, they're obviously not off to the start that they would like to be on. There is some questions about whether Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, if they are a long-term fit, perhaps they look at the Sixers as a cautionary tale of trying to make two stars fit for too long until things don't go great. So I would say you never know. But, yeah, I don't see the Celtics doing it. If I'm Daryl Morey and Brad Stevens called me and said, hey, we'll give you Jalen Brown for Ben, I don't think you'd be able to get Ben Simmons into Boston fast enough for a physical. But because I think Jalen Brown's a hell of a player. I know he's not a perfect fit necessarily, but he is an upgrade. He is a fantastic basketball player and would be an outstanding fit here in general.
Here's where I went, and I've said this already on the show, but here's what I went. I went to a very dark place, as I tend to do from time to time. And the dark place I went to was, remember that whole, like, draft Markel Fultz instead of Jason Tatum thing? Like, just what if Ben Simmons and Jason Tatum end up being this amazing pair together in Boston. And like, what if they just needed a center that could also score Joel Embiid? What if all of a sudden those two look like they could play lights out together, and then we would have missed out on that opportunity here in Philadelphia?
There are so many, but Mark, you could like drive yourself. I mean, I'm sure you and a lot of people in Philadelphia can absolutely drive yourself crazy over the draft what ifs. I mean, you look back not that long ago with the year that they traded the 10th pick, and it was Mikal Bridges that they selected. Had they either kept Mikal Bridges or drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they would be in much better shape than they are today. So, I mean, there are so many what ifs you can look at over the years. I mean, it's funny. One of my guys at Liberty Ballers just wrote a piece basically saying it's weird that the Sixers recently, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, all of the recent picks have been phenomenal. All the outside the lottery guys are hitting, and then they did terribly outside of Joel Embiid. And, get Ben Simmons as a 3-time All-Star. It was the obvious pick at the time. But overall, the better the draft picks they've had, the worse they've done, it seems like. So weird the way that goes. But yeah, we could talk all day about hypotheticals. I still think about Sean Bradley and Sharon Wright and what could have been back in the day with, Penny Hardaway or Eddie Jones. But that's, a whole nother topic for a whole other time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for making me recalculate to a new dark place. So there you go. Speaking of this whole Ben Simmons thing, just real quick to put a bow on the conversation here with Ben. I'm getting it from everyone. I just want to hear it from you. As of right now, the Sixers are about to go on this 6-game road trip. I would say if you were ever going to play him, this would be the time to do it because he's not at the Wells Fargo Center for quite some time. But where are you at right now on how this ends and when it ends with Ben Simmons?
I have a hard time seeing him play another game for the Sixers, given everything that's going on and that it's drug on this long. I know the 6-game road trip has, and I get why that is a popular prediction because, as you've said, that's 6 games away from the Wells Fargo Center where perhaps he can play well, build up, maybe this much goodwill so that when he comes back, maybe it won't be as venomous at the Wells Fargo Center. Yes, because it's going to be, it's just the reality is he's going to, if he comes back, well, whenever he comes back, because at some point he's going to play another game at the Wells Fargo Center, whether as a Sixer or on another team, and to perhaps lower that temperature, maybe you play this 6-game road trip. I don't see it. I don't see him flipping that switch and being ready to play for this team. It's such a stalemate, Mark. It really is, because I still think we are in the same place that we've been at with the Sixers, and that's if they can't get an all-star caliber player in return, they're not trading him. And I think that Jalen Brown rumor, as much as I don't foresee that move happening, that is an indication of why Daryl Morey is doing this the way he's doing. Because as the season goes on, things are going to go wrong for other teams. The Celtics are not off to a good start. You look at a team like New Orleans, maybe a guy like Brandon Ingram at some point. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's been no rumors, but they're off to an awful start. Zion hasn't even played yet. Who knows when he's going to play? Maybe they go in a different direction. Look at the Portland Trail Blazers right now, and their front office is in a lot of hot water. There's an investigation now. So who knows what's going to be the fallout of that? And all of that is just to say, this is why Daryl Morey, despite some frustrations from fans of just saying, let's just get Ben Simmons out of here for a bag of basketballs, this is why he has not done that. Because if the Sixers continue to play well, that puts less pressure on them to make a move. And then as things don't go so well in other places, that might get another front office, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's, Golden State's off to a good start. So I can't, any of the teams that may have been rumored, San Antonio, whatever. If those teams get off to bad starts, or if they continue to be in a bad place, one of those front offices could get antsy. They could up their price, or they could find another team that's willing to take part in a 3-way deal and get it done. So that's why I think the patience has been a good thing, as much as it has been a bit frustrating, really, for all of us, Mark, because there's all these rumors, all these leaks, and we all want closure on it. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime in the near future.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to then some of those guys that you mentioned, the guys that were outside the lottery picks. Matisse Thybulle in the COVID protocol right now. Then you also have Tyrese Maxey, who's dropping all of a sudden 30-some points on the Bucks, the defending champions, after reports come out about how tired he is. I mean, I am loving what I am seeing from Tyrese Maxey. This is exactly why at the start of the year I wanted him in the starting 5. If Ben Simmons wasn't going to be there, he has matured so much in the short amount of time so far this season, and obviously throughout the playoffs last year as well. What are you seeing? What are you liking from Tyrese Maxey, and what do you want to still see him improve on?
I love, and you know this, Mark, I've loved this kid since the moment they drafted him. I thought he was an absolute steal when they got him, where they got him. He's, last year played as a 20-year-old rookie, didn't have a camp because of COVID, did, the in-season improvements he made. And now you're seeing again this year as a 21-year-old, the improvements he is making right now. Mark, he's shooting 38%, over 38% from three on I think over 3 attempts a game. If that number, it's small samples, it's 12 games, but if that number holds, this kid has a chance to be special. That's where we are for me. I know he's going to be good. I have all the confidence in the world that this kid is going to be a good NBA basketball player, a starting caliber player. Now, and I think I've touched on this during the summer league as well, my brain is in the place where, can he be special? Because I think we are rapidly approaching that territory where I'm allowing my brain to kind of go wild with that. And it's kind of something you just touched on, where if it wasn't for this Ben Simmons situation, if the team didn't have all these issues, this opportunity might not be here for him. So as much as we would like to see the Ben Simmons situation get resolved and for them to bring in a player that can help them, as much as we want to see Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid out there, this team at full force, this experience that Tyrese Maxey is getting right now is invaluable. It's going to help him so much. And it's just, to me, the skills are all there. He could do everything you ask of an NBA guard. The issue for him, it's not even an issue. Just the thing that needs to improve is when you do have the big guns back, when you do have Joel, Tobias, when Seth Curry is healthy, when they're all right, how does he balance looking for his versus getting them theirs? And I think that's when Doc talks a lot about him being a true point guard and running a team, and kind of compares it to what Rondo did when he was in Boston. It's the matter of that balance. And I think that's where we are. I don't think the skill portion of it, I have no concerns. I think he's improving as a defender as well. I think that's been probably not talked about enough is how good he's been defensively and how good he can be. And, he talked to us, after the Bucks game, and he's talked about being guarded by Drew Holiday. And he said, that is a guy I've always looked to as a guy I want to emulate, a two-way player that can do both, that can score, that can pass, and that can defend at a high level. And I have no reason to believe that Tyrese Maxey can't become a similar player to a Drew Holiday. I really think he's on that path.
Did you ever think you would see a game where George Young would be under the basket and go like this, and the Wells Fargo Center crowd would go bonkers for him? Did you ever think that would happen? Ever?
No. And I have to say, Mark, George Niang already, I know the fans are already falling in love with him. He's already one of my favorite guys I've ever covered, because I'm serious, because on top of, he's a good player. He's a smart player, does a lot of things to help the team win. And like you talked about, he's fiery. I didn't realize that. He's got some toughness to him. He's got an edge to him. He's jawing with Giannis, jawing at the rest when he's getting called for fouls. He is a feisty guy. And so I think that's part of, what the fans have really, what's really endeared him to them. But then off the court too, man, he is a very smart guy, a very insightful guy, and so self-aware. He knows who he is. He knows what kind of player he is, and he just plays, and he just does his job. He stars in his role. And it's been so impressive to watch. And I know Doc Rivers, and I think rightfully, got a lot of criticism after the playoffs and how they ended and everything happened. But Doc Rivers is the reason that George Niang's here, and he's the reason that Andre Drummond is here. Both of those guys, I think, to this point, have been significant upgrades. With all due respect to Mike Scott and Dwight Howard, both of those guys have been significant upgrades to what we saw last season. And I think, Mark, part of the reason for the success of this team is a lack of weaknesses. And the two of their biggest weaknesses last year were the backup 4, the backup 5. Those two guys have shored up those spots. And with the young guys elevating their play, it's just and a guy like Seth Curry, who's at 30 years old, ascending still. I mean, these guys are just playing at such a high level, and everyone is elevating their games. And I think Doc Rivers deserves a ton of credit for that.
Where do you think we're at as far as Seth Curry coming back? How much time do you think he'll be out? I know Doc said it might be a while. Any update there?
It's tough because he was questionable coming into the game, so that would lead you to believe it's more of like a day-to-day situation. Doc said pregame he didn't want to tell us this, but he knew that Seth probably wasn't going to play. So it's tough. I think Doc mentioned it was a toe. It's listed on the injury report as left foot contusion. Doc mentioned it might be his toe. So we'll see. Clearly they are just ridiculously shorthanded. And so I think to that extent, it's a balance of you also don't want him to play on something that could potentially get worse.
Sure.
And then you're without him for an even longer period of time. But, contusion to me says something that's not maybe as serious. But then again, if you're playing on that, perhaps you're compensating in other ways and other body parts. But I didn't get the gist that it was too serious. So hopefully he's back soon because he's been absolutely spectacular to start the season. Any
word on Tobias Harris?
Yeah, so I mean, he's on the injury report as questionable. So that's outstanding news for tomorrow night, excuse me. And when we spoke to Doc Rivers pregame, he said Tobias is feeling much better and that he thinks, he's going to be back sooner rather than later, which is, that's fantastic news when you consider all the other news the Sixers have gotten recently. But he did mention, and I thought about this beforehand too, they play Toronto on Thursday. They start the 6-game road trip in Indiana Saturday, but then you have to go to Utah and you have to go to Denver. Those are two places you probably don't want to go if you're trying to get your wind back and recovering from COVID.
True.
Because of the elevation level and altitude and all that. So that's going to be something that might be worth monitoring. Like maybe he plays tomorrow and Saturday, but maybe he doesn't play in Utah or Denver because of that. So that it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I know Isaiah, the order is Tobias, Isaiah, Joe, Matisse, and then Joel. So I imagine all those guys will kind of trickle back into the lineup as we go here. But it seems the news seems positive on Tobias. It seems like he's going to be back soon. So that obviously when he comes back, that should give this team an enormous boost.
The Sixers did make an acquisition today, and I just want to make sure I ask you about this guy. Have you heard about this new acquisition that they made? Supposedly the single greatest free throw shooter in the history of the Wells Fargo First Union and Coors State Center. Just take a look at his tape. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't teach that form, but the ball goes in.
What do you mean teach that form? Perfect follow through. Perfect follow through. That's all you got to worry about right there, my friend. Paul Hudrick, always great catching up with you. Appreciate it. Make sure you at Liberty Ballers are following that kid. I think he even grew up in Doylestown, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. Local product. Paul Hudrick, thanks for coming on. Liberty Ballers, make sure you check out Paul and all his amazing writers there at Liberty Ballers. Make sure you guys check him out. Paul, thank you so much for joining us here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line.
Anytime, Mark. You got it, man.
The last time we'll ever have Paul Hudrick on the show, brought to you by Rothman Orthopaedics, the orthopedic partner of the Philly Sixers and Eagles. How do you insult my form like that, bro? Bring you on as a credible basketball source and analyst, and you insult my form? How dare you, sir? How dare you? Don't talk about another man's form like that. I feel like my form is on point. Did you want more of a splash thing? Did he want more of a, leave it down? No. I don't leave it down, okay? What am I, a ballerina? No. Leave it up. Leave it up. Follow through, come back. That's how I like to roll. Anyway, Paul Hudrick joins the show. But let me just do this for one more second because every once in a while I do go to a dark place. Probably one of my darkest places I've ever gone to was when Carter Hart was just coming up and everyone was talking about how great Carter Hart was. The darkest place that I went to was that we had waited forever for a goalie, right? We waited forever for somebody in net, like a Ron Hextall or a Bernie Parent, right? Like they grow on trees. And we never got one. There was trial and error with a bunch of different guys. There was some false hope here and there. Brian Boucher was one of those guys that was great for little stretches and then wasn't so great. Had one great rookie year and then little spurts. Like he still owns, I'm pretty sure he still owns the shutout record for most consecutive shutouts in a row. So he has those spurts of greatness. But when it comes to everything else with the Flyers goaltender, there's been these false prophets like Ilya Bryzgalov was supposed to solve that problem. They gave him all that money to come in here, like a humongous big contract, and he wasn't that good. But like the dark place that I went to there was that the Flyers finally got Sergei Bobrovsky. And he's a legit goal, Vezina, all that stuff. And then he gets traded. And then because of Bryzgalov, and then all of a sudden, after all this wait of actually grooming a goaltender, he leaves, and then all of a sudden the Flyers are going to get another goalie. Like that was my dark. Like that's why Carter Hart won't be successful. It's like because we're doomed as a fan base where we just can't get this right. That seems to hopefully not be the case because I still think Carter Hart is going to be a pretty damn good goaltender for a lot of years. But with this Ben Simmons situation, as I was thinking about it more yesterday, the whole Jalen Brown thing. So let's say that trade happens and Jalen Brown comes here and that's great. But imagine just what if Ben Simmons goes to Boston and he and Jason Tatum become the pairing of the NBA. Could you imagine? Like that would just be more salt in the open wound of Markelle Fultz and not Jason Tatum. Like that would be the worst possible thing that could happen. The worst, other than the Celtics, going on a run and just the Sixers never win because then all of a sudden the Celtics become the greatest thing in the history of the world. That would make me go. That's what made me go into my dark place yesterday. And I know that you weren't getting Tatum, but if Brian Colangelo was a little bit of more of a huckster, as opposed to just with burner accounts with his wife Babs, if that was the case, if he could pull the wool over Danny Ainge's eyes and still get Jason Tatum, even though he said, "Oh no, I want Markelle Fultz, you take Tatum, no big deal." Handshake agreements don't exist in the world of business, unfortunately, not in the basketball world. But that appears to be what the case was when it came to Brian Colangelo, who really, 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 really liked Markelle Fultz. So there we are. Hey, let me tell you about the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics, folks. I actually gave them a call yesterday. I told you guys I was doing the demo in my house, knocking down that false wall, right? The old home I live in. I was knocking that wall down, expanding it, going to make it the master bedroom. They're going to give the kids the middle floor in our beautiful, luxurious Philadelphia row home. And, we're moving upstairs, so I'm swinging the hammer. And for whatever reason, I'm swinging the hammer with my right arm, and my left shoulder starts bothering me. What the hell is that? Called Rothman Orthopaedics. They said, do a couple of these stretches just to work it out a little bit better, and you'll be good. Guess what? Full range is back, baby. Feel fantastic. All that because of the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics. That was just an easy thing they were able to do for me. Imagine what they could do for you, for him, a little bit more of a serious issue. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. BetQL got a little Thursday night football action tonight. Balmer at Miami. So you got the Ravens taking on the Dolphins tonight. Probably Jacoby Brissett starting again for the Dolphins. If you want to get the advantage or the edge over your sportsbook, you need BetQL. Download the BetQL app right now. The only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and they give you the reasoning behind why you should place that bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player prop bets as well. You don't want to use the model and prefer to do your own research? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, and even a leaderboard to help you track your own success. Head to the App Store now or Google Play Store and download the BetQL app. How about our friends over at Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com? Oh, my goodness, great. 2-pound tomahawk steak, fine Pinot Noir from Cavada Cellars Wines. My man Tony Cavada runs the place. It is a beautiful, awesome restaurant, upscale steakhouse, casual bar and patio for when the weather's nice. Freshly prepared sushi, fresh fish. The crab dip's incredible, but I always recommend the 2-pound tomahawk steak. They might as well just call it the Farzy Special right there because it's that delicious, all right? The 2-pound tomahawk steak, fine Pinot Noir, it's great. They're open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch as well. If you got a big party, they got a big party table in the back that actually rotates. You want to share some apps, right? Maybe some desserts. Table spins. It's just that amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Steak and Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Cooking Channel and the Travel Channel. So check it out for yourself. Go to stakeandmain.com. And hopefully you guys are following all the amazing stories across all the platforms with PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. And finally, WinView. I hope you guys are having fun on this app because I'm having a great time. Things aren't going that well in fantasy for you that week. You know what? Maybe die up a little WinView challenge for the person you're playing in fantasy. Get a chance to win some money that day. I've done it a couple times throughout the year for that exact reason, and it's great. It's a great time. Download the WinView app, the only game where fans can challenge other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who's the biggest sports fan? If you have those friends and family members who think they know everything, challenge them to a WinView contest and see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. If you want to break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers, Thanksgiving right around the corner, the holidays right around the corner, make sure you have the WinView app. Break up the monotony of those get-togethers. You can play a quarter of Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, whatever it might be. Put a little skin in the game, a little extra layer of competition to your fantasy football league. While you're tracking the games on Sunday, you can see which players are killing it for your team and play against your other league members in a WinView contest. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app. You could win real money prizes by making predictions on the games that you love. Let's jump into our social media check-in brought to you by Stake and Main and stakeandmain.com. Man, oh man, the comments are flying around today. Appreciate that. See some new people in here. Try to get to everybody on the show today. Pete's checking in. Good morning, Pete. Mally, what's popping? Kevin, how are you? Good Thursday morning, Farzy and everybody. The Mr. Snuffy. The Mr. Snuffy. Welcome to the program. Nice to have you. Good morning to you as well. Evan, nice to have you. I like the new mic, but covering your football helmet. Oh, is it? Oh, well, that's gosh darn ridiculous. Ugh. See, now, I would put this on, but I think they realize I'm not a smart man, and they were like, the idiot might try to put it on, so let's make it so we can't have him put it on. You hearing that? That's it. That's an idiot-proof helmet. That means, hey, numbnuts, you can't put this on. All right? So there you go. Just know that it's there. Know that it exists. That's backwards. Scoozy. There we go. Are we good? I watch that fall off. Is that good? A little of that. I just know that I'm going to break something. There we go. Actually, better now. I can see the screen a little bit better here for your fine comments. But Evan, appreciate you. Mally, over under on how many times we see the Farzy shot clip today. Ooh, so far you saw it once. What was the bet? Get me in on it. I'll show it in there a couple of times. Frustrating Flyers game. Eric, you're absolutely right. That was a very 30 saves for Carter Hart, by the way, last night. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. 30 of 33 saves. The 3 goals. I mean, I put if someone really said, hey, I'd be a tough grader, I'd put maybe 1 on him. And I think that was the second Nylander goal. But there was traffic in front, so I mean, if I really had to be a jerk about it, that's what I'd say. I like it coming in, Eric. Nice to have you again. Pete, what's up, Pete? And Mr. Stuff, not intent matters. It was just a fluke thing. Oh no, you're absolutely right. As far as the kick, no, like I said, it's just for me, it's weird. The conclusive evidence thing when it's off his foot, like. It's a weird thing, and you're absolutely right. Intent absolutely matters. It's beyond crazy that Howie has been terrible at drafting and even making football operations decisions, yet never no accountability and still has a job as GM. Literally has survived 3 head coaches. Here's what's really funny about that Howie Roseman GM thing. So not only has Howie not been fired, right? He's kind of been promoted again because he was the executive vice president of football operations. And there was no GM. The Eagles did not have a general manager. Even when they had Joe Douglas, he was not a general manager. So Howie Roseman getting the GM title again is another stamp of approval on his football decisions. Eagles are looking for a quarterback to solve all their problems when the main issue is the front office, starting with Howie. No doubt there. Sean, good morning. Mr. Snuffy, hey, buddy. Oh, you go saying hi to Sean. There you go. Alyssa. Oh, we have another lady. Alyssa, welcome in. Hey, friends. Hey, Alyssa, welcome in. Ryan, morning. Very nice. Sean, hey. Wait, Sean. There's a conversation happening now between Snuff, Mr. Wait, can he call you Snuff? Are you guys that friendly where he can call the Mr. Snuffy? Hey, Snuff. Ryan, hey, buddy. 1.8. Hey, Snuffy. What the hell? April. Morning, April. What's happening? Ryan, you're very kind. I appreciate that. Humble Philly Bull. Another hot fire L coming. I think that's intended for the Eagles or meant for the Eagles. Somebody used to be a fan. Oh, that's very nice of you, Ryan. I appreciate you. Damn. Sirianni aging in dog years. You're absolutely right. David's new. What's happening? GM, everybody. What's happening? GM, everyone. Oh, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm GM Howie Roseman. Sorry. Mr. Snuffy, what's up, David? Look at you guys. They're palling around in the chat. Let me tell you right now. With all the new people in the chat, I want to give one shout out. Mally and April, you guys are well aware. Our boy Dan Schwartz has got some stuff going on. All good, but he's got some stuff going on. He's going to come back to the chat in the not too distant future. So shout out to our buddy Dan. Dan is kind of like the unofficial art director of the Farzy Show. So that's just how we can talk about that. Farzy, that's very Ryan. You're too kind. I really appreciate that, man. I don't like reading compliments about me. I prefer the more self-deprecating. No, we're Mally. Are we counting Hurts on the over/under for run plays? That's what I'm saying. Called run plays. Like I will say this: give me 8 called run plays. Give me 6 of them. 6 of them in the first half. With Jalen Hurts under center. Huh? That's a party. Sirianni looks aged. Why is this here? Defense. Why is he near the defense? April. Here's how I read this. April, when I saw you write that, why is Sirianni near the defense? Let me just give this for the people that might have missed it. Here's something that scared me. This was Nick Sirianni being asked about Brian Johnson being on the field and how that works.
I could so really in between a set, I have to be there with the defense and looking at the defense and anything that's going on right there.
I'm sorry, what? You need to be by the defense? Here's how I read that, April. Why are you looking at the defense? It's like if your kid goes into the kitchen and all of a sudden there's fire. It's like, why is there a fire? Whatever. No, not at all like that. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. For the month of this year, I'm convinced the Eagles were tanking because I couldn't believe the coaching could be this bad without trying. MBD? DBF? I think I got that right. COVID terrible this year. Eagles' first possession against the Chargers was on their own 1-yard line, and Sirianni came out of shotgun. Wait a minute. Is that where they got the ball first against the Chargers? I remember they got that against the Lions. And I remember thinking, who puts their quarterback in the end zone? I'll have to go back and look at that again with the Chargers. I know it happened against the Lions. I think it was from their 3, and they came out in shotgun, and it was like, hey, Jalen Hurts, get in the end zone. Brilliant. Alyssa, welcome, world. Welcome to you once more. Sean, what's poppin'? Nice to have you. It would be so comforting to me if the Eagles coaching was intentionally losing. False hope is still hope. Sean, you make a good point. World coming down. I don't disagree. Snuff, great stuff. Also, oh, hey, Alyssa. Ryan, man bun. Paul is big on the man bun. Celtics don't want to deal with Ben's drama. April, I don't know. So there's something about this that's really weird. Something really weird. But here's the thing. I don't think Ben wants to deal with Boston. Like I said yesterday, look, as much as we don't want to admit it, we do have a similar mindset to the city of Boston when it comes to what we expect from our players. Boston's a tough city, too. I can't imagine Ben wanting to be like, those people in Philly were jerks. You know who's full of nice, you know what city's full of just great, nice, kind people? Boston. Not so much. Ben would wear a Sixers jersey again. Never wear a Sixers jersey, probably. Morning, Dak. Oh, is Dak in the chat? Dak, what's popping, buddy? Nice to see you. Mally, how you doing? Eric, what's popping? Morning coming down. Dante, I could see Ben wearing a Dr. J jersey after he's traded to be a heel. I don't know if Ben wants that smoke. Mike Casey, I'm just glad Devin Booker took his girlfriend. So about that, I put no credibility into this, but I saw it and I just started laughing because I knew how hilarious it would be. Somebody was speculating that the Suns would trade for Ben Simmons, giving the Sixers Chris Paul. And I'm like, okay. But Ben playing with Devin Booker and having Kendall there, oh my God. Yes, please, and thank you. That would be amazing. Dante, nice to have you again. Rick, what's popping? Mark D, what's going on, man? Appreciate you. Andrew, what's going on? Andrew, hello again. Warm welcome for what a warm welcome for a scumbag like myself. What? What the hell did I miss? Anyway, even scumbags need loving. World coming down. You're coming down hard, my friend. Got to have a sense of humor if you're a Philadelphia fan. You ain't kidding. Kevin, what's going on? Mike, hello again. Ryan, thank you again. You guys see this stuff in the chat. Mally. All right. Mally says my shot form looks like my whole body is filled with arthritis. Let's look at it one more time. Here we are. Right there in the slow motion. Right there in the slow motion. What the hell's the matter with you? Anyway. Mark being a petty Betty. Wait, Tuesday's what the hell day is it? It's Thursday, right? Chat is popping. Cecil, you are correct. Don Vito, what's going on? Nice to have you. Ray, bend your knees a little next time. Foul shooting. Bend my knees. Hold on. Look at that. How low do you want me to go? Let's look where I start. Look, that's the starting point. See that? That's the starting point. One more time. Starting point's pretty low. Boom, right there. Look how low. Okay, all right. Deion Sanders ran what? A 440 in Tim's. I'm hitting foul shots in skinny jeans. And guess what? I ain't that skinny. My wife just likes them. I don't know why. She likes my butt. That's what you got, all right? So I can't go that low in skinny jeans. Thank you. Producer Jim babysits Mike Sealski's kids. Anyway, darkest place Farzy went to is Freaky Cousin's wedding. T-Bro! Is the plug that happened? Carter? Oh, Carter, what's happening? Real Carter? All right. PJ is the man behind the curtain. Oh, we're filling the new people in. This is good. Mark D. Hughes Day? Farzy reads Ted Hughes, Sylvia Plath. Farzy doesn't read. The most reading I do is this comment section. Farzy out here demoing walls. Yeah, man. Mark from Delco. All nuts come from Delco. Farzy brought PJ, so Farzy doesn't seem like the creepiest on the payroll. What I really do enjoy... Mally, yeah, I did compare myself to Deion Sanders. Why not? Anyway, was he wearing skinny jeans? I don't think so. He was wearing some Timbs. All right, don't at me. Farzy 1-on-1, Warminster Park. Let's go. Wait, Warminster Park. I didn't know there was a Warminster Park. I've probably driven by the park a million times. I just never know it was Warminster Park. But let's play, bro. You know what? Meet me at Log College. How about that? My old stomping ground where I used to teach swimming in the summer. What a great job that was. The indoor pool, of course. Ryan, that's very nice. We appreciate you, brother. Sean, skinny jeans, you need help. I do. I need help getting out of my skinny jeans. Thank you. Anyway, thanks for everyone that chimed in on the Farzy Show chat. You guys are awesome. Much appreciated. Let's roll in from our chat there from Steak and Maine. Let's roll into our Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. I mentioned for you already 30 saves on 33 shots for Carter Hart. A couple of things I want to get to here in our Morning Rush segment. One, let's start it off with this. We got the 76ers back in action tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off against the Raptors. Raptors 6-6 on the season. Flyers at Carolina tomorrow night. Dwight Howard played basketball last night in a game where the Lakers won 120-117 in overtime over the Heat. Dwight Howard played 11 minutes, 0 points, 3 rebounds, 6 fouls. 6 fouls in 11 minutes. Dwight Howard fouled out of a game last night in 11 minutes. That's a little talk for the water cooler today. Bryson Stott, GM meetings going on. Bryson Stott, how about this? Getting this from Jim Salisbury, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Getting from his article. You guys should check it out. I want to make sure I bring up the first one. Yeah, here we go. This is what Dave Dombrowski told Bryson Stott, the Phillies' 14th overall pick in the 2019 amateur draft. I've told him, you should come to spring training with the mindset of trying to win a spot with the big league club. Love that attitude. He went on to say, I've never been adverse to jumping a guy from AA to the big leagues, Dombrowski said. I've done it many times and I've had good success. He's had some at AAA, some reps at AAA, which he has, and he's played well in the Arizona Fall League, so I'm not adverse to that. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just some quick numbers on Bryson Stott. 303 is what he hit in his 10 AAA games, albeit 10 AAA games, but 303 is 303. Throughout the 2021 minor league season, he hit 299 in over 400 at-bats, and he had an on-base percentage of 390 with 16 home runs. Bryson Stott, come on up. How about that? Love to see Bryson Stott take over the shortstop role of the Philadelphia Phillies. Would love to see that happen. I think we can all get behind that. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, hold on. Mopar, thank you, Mr. Snuff. I've heard of you. There we go. What else? Oh, how can I forget this? You're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you. Some people might say, you're just a shock jock. Carson Wentz is a great human being. You know why Carson Wentz is a great human being? Because he loves you, Philadelphia. How do I know Carson Wentz loves you, Philadelphia? Because Carson Wentz apparently loves you more than the birth of his second child. Instead of going to the hospital to be with his lovely missus for the birth of his second child, Carson Wentz says he is going to play this Sunday, even if he has to miss his child's birth, which means more snaps for Carson Wentz, which means a higher snap count for Carson Wentz, which means a higher snap percentage for Carson Wentz, which means a first-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles becomes even more and more likely. Thank you, Carson Wentz, ladies and gentlemen. You love to see it. You love to see it. You know, I will say, being that my wife's expecting, and we're expecting number 2, you know, it is different the second time around. The first time around, you have like no idea what the hell's happening. It's just, you think you know, like you've met babies before, but it's like, it's all your responsibility and all that stuff. And then the second time, it's like, all right, you know what needs to happen. So the anticipation goes to something completely different. Is that, you know, like the first time around, you're like, am I prepared? I'm not sure if I'm prepared. I think I'm prepared. I got the house ready. Everything looks good. Nursery's ready. It's painted. It's put together. The crib's ready. All that stuff. We got bottles. We bought the bottles. We're good. Whatever. So it's like, you're not sure what to expect. And the second one around, you're like, I got this. But then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I got everything else I have to do. Like, I'm ready for the baby now. Now I just need to make sure I have all the I's dotted and T's crossed and lowercase j's, and you're just thinking to yourself, all right, I wasn't sure if I was ready for the first one. I was ready for the first one. This second one, I feel a lot more prepared, but what am I missing? It's like one of those things where like you got a long trip the next day, and you're like, all right, did I pack everything? Like, do I have everything ready? And that's kind of where we're at right now. January, man, late January, two kids in the house, father of 2. There you go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Much appreciated. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program, did a phenomenal job. My thanks to this brand new microphone. Really liked it. I feel like I was in less danger while I was doing my crazy hand stuff of like knocking something over. With the Yeti, I felt like I was about to smack it every time and knock us off the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated, everybody. My thanks to Jim Hyden, produced the program. My thanks to Buzz Sports Entertainment, as this is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzy. Oh, Mopar, you just got here? All right, Mopar, ask me anything. Ask me a question. All right, just for you. I don't want to leave if you just got to my house. What do you got? Oh, Luigi. Look at you. All right, Mopar, are you still there, bud? Still hoping for the 27th. Oh, thank you. I tell a guy, hey, ask me anything. And you know what he says? Hey, Mark, do you make your own pizza? Yes, I do make my own pizza. Mark, what is your favorite color? Not to be weird, it's black. My favorite color is black. I know absence of color. It's not actually color. If it's not black, then I would say like a blue, this is right on the pizza alley. Like the Italian national team blue, that Azzurri blue. I like that blue right there. Anyone else follow the Wings? Hey, Falconator 51. What's happening? NLL. Farzy was the Wings PA guy. I was. That was a great time. David, I like black too. I hope that I hope everyone's periwinkle blue. Farzy, what's your favorite star? The sun. How about that? I like the sun because the sun's a star. Such a goth. I like black and blue. There you go, Ryan. This is fun. This is how the show ends. Thanks for watching, everybody. Much appreciated. Where are my emo people? Where are my emo people that were like, Farzy, what are you doing with Farzy, can you go 2 hours? I can go all day. All right, that was weird. Sorry. Mark, you have no idea what is coming. Oh, God, Mopar. Oh, Alyssa, good times. Thank you. Big sun guy. Big fan of the sun. Really like life. I really like life, and the sun helps give that. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate you. That was for all the new people. You really added a lot. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. From the Steven Singer Studios, my name is Marc Farzetta. See you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.